Hello, hello, hello. It is Moscow Mitch Monday. We are your Mitch McConnell Retirement Committee. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in as we give you the information, the strategy we need to ditch Mitch in November. Between now and November 3rd, folks, we only have 36 days. Anyone else a little freaked out about that? 36 days to get it done? The guy's been in office for 36 years. So, a day a year. I don't know what that means. It just means that we have a lot of work to do. So I'm glad you're here with us. We've got a great show. We're doing, of course, Mitch in the news to kick things off. In the news in Kentucky and across the country, the grand jury decision to have only one charge against one cop in the murder of Breonna Taylor is a story that really overwhelms and just upends everything. We're going to spend some time there as our co-host Kimberly Cecil Jones offers her reflections. As a Black woman living in Louisville, she is close to this issue. We have got Doug following Mitch's money, and we're going to be joined again by Indivisible's Aftyn Behn and her infamous cardboard cutout Mitch, which is pretty exciting. And she's brought a special guest as well. So that's all to be looked forward to in our campaigns corner. This week, our guest is State Representative-elect Col Pam Stevenson. So we'll be chatting with her later on. And we got updates on our campaigns to help ditch Mitch on November 3rd. Our 5K for KY campaign brought to us by our organizing chair, Kit O'Connor, and a little bit about our weekly See a Senator Saturday or Save SCOTUS Saturday, that an ongoing Saturday demonstration. So 36 days to go. We got lots to do. We're going to give you the information you need to get it done. But we have a lot of social media sharing we'd like to do. We have a lot of great videos we're putting out there. And to get eyeballs on videos in Facebook land, it takes money. So if you want to kick in a little bit, make some donations, help us fuel our platform and get the word out, do it, would you? It's right there, secureactblue.com, make a donation. There's a lot of ways to help out. And I'm really excited at the end of the show, we got a rundown from Kimberly about different ways you can be involved, because I think you should do something every single day. It's just 36 days. You can do it every single day. It takes money. Right. So as every week, we're going to start with our introduction, who you are, where you are, and what does your protest sign say today? Because, of course, this is a digital demonstration. And we got to keep that demonstration alive. What's your sign say? So, and put it in the chat, people. If you're watching this thing, put it in the chat. I want to see what your sign says. If you're just watching us, it's a little unfair. You're hearing from us and you're not, sharing. Let's share. It's a community. It's a committee. All right. So I'm Aaron. I'm in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, right outside of Lexington. And my protest sign says today, save healthcare, ditch Mitch. Kimberly, what's your sign say? Where are you streaming from?
I'm streaming from Great Louisville, Kentucky. And Aaron, I'm sorry I couldn't pull myself together to even just make a sign today because I'm still so sick. And my sign says hashtag sick of Mitch. Ugh. Ugh. I'm so sick.
So physically feels it.
Yeah.
In her belly. That is, that's like a kind of impact this guy has. Makes us sick. Nate, how about you?
Hey folks, it's Nate Orshan broadcasting live from Kit's and my lovely house here in South Frankfurt. And tonight my sign is going to say, our Commonwealth cares about playing fair. It's time for Amy McGrath.
That's great. Let's see if they do. I hope they do care about playing fair, because that is certainly not something you could ever accuse Mitch of. So Kimberly, I wanted to turn to you, to share kind of what's been happening in Louisville, what you've been going through. This has been just such a crazy and historic and horrific week. And we're in Lexington, we're in Central Kentucky, we're not as close to it as you are. And I want to just hear from you kind of what's happening there in the wake of the Breonna Taylor decisions.
Where do I start and what do I say? Actually, right now in Louisville, it's very, very contentious. All eyes on Louisville, all across the country, across the world. The stage is set. And not only is it the brutality of the police department, It's also understanding the system that's in place right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and all of Kentucky, actually. And when you go back and you actually look at the laws, you find out that these laws were constructed to make sure that its Black citizens would always be involved with the law. I have been looking at the 502 live streamers, shout out to them, because of the simple fact this is where you get the real news, not the mass media chop block, but the real news of how I've seen for myself the brutality of the police just throwing protesters down. And so now we have the question about who's an actual protester versus who is an actual rioter. It was very demeaning, very embarrassing for our state representative, Attica Scott, to even be arrested for supposedly being one of the ones who threw a flare into the Louisville Free Public Library that's downtown. She's been one of the ones that's actually stood up and tried to get funding for our public libraries. As a Black woman, it's disheartening. And as Malcolm X said, the most disrespected woman in America is the Black woman. When we speak, and people don't really understand what's going on, but I would like to explain to you in the short amount of time as I can. For many, many years, as a Black person, your voice is not heard. I have gone up the ranks in corporate America, sitting at tables that I couldn't speak at, being demeaned, being ostracized if I did speak up. And then you don't want to speak up too much because then you are known as the angry Black woman. People don't get back with you or don't want to discuss a subject because they don't feel like it's important. But this is important. And why has it come to this now? When I was born just a few months before Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So I don't know what it feels like to go to the white water fountain or the Black water fountain, as they used to say, colored. But I would like to give everyone a little shred of history here. They call it Injustice Square. It used to be called Jefferson Square, right across the street from Metro City Hall here in Louisville. And I just found out yesterday how ironic it is that when you owe taxes, you could bring your slaves right there and sell them to pay your taxes. The same square that the monument and memorial is for Breonna Taylor. This is the compound for the whole movement behind Breonna Taylor. So we all know that there is a mass cover-up. We understand that it wasn't going to go our way and justice be served. There is no justice. And as a Black woman in America, primarily here in Kentucky, I blame most of this, if not all of this, on the most racist senator that we have ever had in Kentucky, and it is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell has been tone deaf on everything that is happening in his state that he is supposed to lead. He has not come down to Injustice Square like Amy McGrath has to talk with people, to see what's going on. When it comes to an African American group, you never see him. He feels that our votes are not important. So I just want to say to everyone, as we go through this journey, this movement, and I like to make it clear that when you see people wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts or bracelets, as I have on, it doesn't mean that we are affiliated with the organization. There is an organization, Black Lives Matter, and then there is the movement, Black Lives Matter. No life can matter until Black lives can matter. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak my piece and what I'm feeling and the trauma that I feel and the anxiety that I feel and the remembrance of decades of being treated unfairly. So I just appreciate that we have someone here with the MMRC, such as Aaron Viles, that has allowed me to have a voice on this show tonight. I appreciate the whole team. Thank you.
Well, we're so grateful that you're part of this team, and your perspective is so valuable, and you bring so much to our efforts. And the direct line from Mitch McConnell to what's happening in Louisville, I think it's clear, right? Daniel Cameron is a Mitch minion. There is no way that Daniel Cameron, wholly unqualified for this role, he would never have been elected. You never would have been elected attorney general, but for Mitch, right? Both, Mitch giving him the job of legal counsel, but then Mitch forcing him into this position, lining up the funders for him, clearing the path for him. Mitch might as well have been the one who, decided to only bring one charge, right? And you mentioned Attica Scott and the idea that she is being charged, more than or as much as the one officer, in terms of felony and seriousness. It's outrageous. Attica's a friend of the show. Representative Scott was one of our first guests. We actually have her coming back next week, so we're going to hear a bit about from her perspective. But I did want to just point out, if you folks remember Adam Edlin, he was our I think state auditor a while back. He ran for governor against Rocky and Andy Bashir, and he did, came in third in that, great field. But he nailed that whole ridiculousness of Attica Scott being arrested for throwing a flare in the library. On Twitter, he said, "I've heard a bunch of wild-eyed, crazy shit in my day, but this whole Attica Scott tried to burn down the library last night takes the cake. It's like saying Daniel Cameron defaced the Brooks Brothers." I mean, you don't want to make too much light, but I think he nailed it. I think that's pretty funny.
Can I just show my earring? Can I show my earring?
Please.
Can you see it?
Yes, 100% black. That is. All right. So we're now into Mitch in the news. The first story that I want to share with you. So we all know we've got to save SCOTUS, right? The Supreme Court of the United States is in the balance right now when Ruth Bader Ginsburg tragically passed at a horrible time. Mitch has now, guaranteed the nominee. So this weekend, President Trump did what most people thought he was going to do and nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Mitch has pledged to drop everything to put her on a track to hearings and ultimately confirmation before January, perhaps even before the election. And Mitch was actually nailed in the news this weekend. I was watching the George Stephanopoulos show, the weekend show, and he had Dick Durbin on, and Dick Durbin pointed out, senator from Illinois, he's the second most powerful Democrat in the caucus there. He called out Mitch, nailed him for his hypocrisy, his unwillingness to even meet to try to figure out coronavirus relief, right? So the HEROES Act passed, what was it, 4 years ago now, or certainly 4 months ago. The House did their job to build a fantastic relief package to help deal with the coronavirus impacts to our economy and to our communities. And then the Senate did basically nothing, right? And they can't, at this point, they won't even meet to negotiate. So it really is, it's ridiculous to think that Mitch will do everything in his power, move heaven and earth to make sure that we get the Supreme Court nomination through, but won't even figure out what he needs to do for coronavirus. So, and I think Dick Durbin did a really good job of calling out that hypocrisy. But, this just needs to remind us why judges are so critical, right? So when it comes to my sign earlier, tonight, healthcare, save healthcare, stop Mitch. Because if you remember last week, 2 weeks ago, Betsy Foster joined us. If they are successful, the week after the election, the Supreme Court is going to be deciding on the Affordable Care Act, and they will throw the Affordable Care Act out the window if this woman is put into the Supreme Court. There's just kind of no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, she's already gotten her legal theories are clear. They've been shared. She thinks that what they did the last time, John Roberts was the deciding vote in terms of whether the ACA should be held up. She thought he got it wrong. She said as much. So what that means is millions of Americans will lose health care if Mitch gets his way and packs this court and gets this court, the way he wants it. It is outrageous that people are voting right now, and they are going to go ahead and proceed. Merrick Garland means nothing to them. Their own, what they had established as the principle of you can't appoint a Supreme Court justice if there's an election year happening. That was 9 months before the election. This is less than 2 months before the election, right? So, and people are in fact actually voting as we speak. So healthcare goes away. Climate change, you probably haven't heard, but there's a court case from 2009. I think it was Massachusetts versus the EPA, and there's called the endangerment finding, where it said that basically the state of Massachusetts forced the EPA to regulate carbon because it was endangering our environment and our people. That was the Supreme Court that weighed in on that. Don't tell me that this Supreme Court, if Mitch gets his way, won't redecide that. And next thing you know, we have no ability to regulate carbon in the United States of America. And if we don't do that, it's game over, folks. We had Planned Parenthood on a few episodes back. Obviously, women's health is in the balance here. Also, we had a guest from earlier in our show, Nina McCoy. She made a point about corporate accountability in today's Lexington Herald Leader. She had a great op-ed about how they talk about conservative Christian judges, right? That's what they really want to put on the court, is Christian conservative judges. But really that kind of Christian only is code for one issue, right? It's just abortion, right? It's not about anything else. Because I'm a Christian. I don't think Jesus would like, Black Jewel Mine to let their mine drop on my house because they are, going through bankruptcy and they don't want to spend any money on their environmental, enforcement, right? And that's actually what's happening right now. That's what conservative judges are bringing us in Eastern Kentucky, is letting these corporations do whatever the heck they want to do. Who cares about the environment? Who cares about their impact on the public? So the, Christian conservative judges is code for one thing. And of course, it's just one element of that one thing. Because if you actually want to reduce abortions, you give people access to free, easily available health, not healthcare, but I'm losing the words because I'm a little fired up. But yeah, so if people have choices, right? If they can use, oh my gosh, yeah. So this is really embarrassing, but it's really important that, the decision on ACA would actually get rid of people's ability to make better choices, right? So that is something that they never seem to talk about in terms of the Christian perspective that they want on the bench. It's all about corporate rule, and that's a very it's, for me at least, it's very troubling. Environmental laws are important to me. Labor laws are important to me. The fact that everyone's going to be able to be a at-will employee if they get their way is basically what we're going to deal with. So this is a real problem, and I think if you're not in the trenches right now about this decision, you're not paying attention adequately to what this means to our country. So that's Mitch in the news. That's for me. I think Nate's got a great story that he wants to share with us. Nate, how are you?
Hey, Aaron, thanks so much. And thanks for bringing some fire to this issue. Lord knows we can't bring enough. So this week, let's start out with the punchline of the whole thing, which is Mitch McConnell is teaching the Democrats what to do when they're in power. It ain't pretty, but it's what's going to happen, especially if we reelect him. So I want to share a little bit from a September 24th column from Ezra Klein of Vox Media. It's titled, "How Mitch McConnell is Changing the Democratic Party." So Klein starts out talking about how people will remember Mitch years from now. Quote, "He will go down as one of the most consequential Senate leaders in history, but his legacy isn't defined by bills passed or pacts struck. McConnell's legislative record is meager. He has passed tax cuts, cut regulations, and confirm judges. But historians will not linger long over the laws McConnell passed. As McConnell himself has said, his most consequential decision was an act of negation, blocking Merrick Garland from being appointed to the Supreme Court. Klein goes on to talk about all the ways that the Democrats have figured out that Mitch will never stop being an obstructionist to them. He, quote, won't let them govern if they win, so he's potentially done something that liberal activists and pundits were never able to achieve: convince Senate Democrats that the Senate is broken and that new rules are needed. All right, so the writing is on the wall. A Democratic Senate will feel that they have to get rid of the filibuster. They have to pack the Supreme Court with more judges. They have to make Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico states. The sky's the limit now, thanks to the deception and foul play of Mitch and his party in the Senate. And don't get me wrong, I think these are great things, but the point is that the gloves are coming off. There is something, though, that we Kentuckians can do if we want to de-escalate things. We can de-escalate things by not re-electing Mitch. I know. Nobody's going into the ballot thinking, you know what, I'm going to vote for Amy McGrath because that'll teach a lesson to the Republicans about not abusing power in the Senate. So in that sense, I'm just flapping my gums here. But regardless, the point is still true. If we support Mitch McConnell by voting for him again, what we're really supporting is getting the Republican Party's nominees onto judgeships through deception. We're supporting what's become the Republican Party's business as usual of being dishonest just because, it can get away with it in the moment. So we can totally do that. And we can reelect Mitch McConnell for a 6th term. But what we're doing then is we're saying that we're okay with the majority party in the Senate being as nasty and partisan as it can be. We're saying we want that. And that's how we're teaching Democrats a lesson in the Senate. The lesson that they need to be every bit as nasty as Mitch McConnell and the Republicans when they control the Senate, just to get anything accomplished. And if that's the way we want it, by all means, we should just get up and vote for Mitch. But then we shouldn't be surprised when the Democrats learn the lesson that we, the Kentucky voters, have taught them by rewarding Mitch with our support. And you know what? If we Kentucky voters are okay with Mitch's BS business as usual, then guess what's going to happen when the Democrats finally do have control of the Senate? We'll get it repaid back tenfold with zero restraint, which, again, for me, would be a good thing. But, if you're on the side of wanting a little bit of balance, not so good. But we still have a chance to say the following. You know what? I'm sick and tired of my senator making the Senate work only for his party, no matter how much what he does do or what he doesn't do ends up hurting the Commonwealth. I'm sick and tired of my senator turning the Senate into a tool that's only there to help rich folks and big business. I'm sick and tired of sending someone to Washington who doesn't care about playing fair. And then, my fellow Kentuckians, we can vote for someone who is the opposite of Mitch in nearly every way. And we can send a person with principles to Washington to work for us. We can vote for Amy McGrath. From Moscow, Mitch Monday, I'm Nate Orshan.
Nate and your cat, I think.
Could not keep him away.
No, it is not, it's not a normal Zoom call unless there's some cat somewhere. But anyway, that was great. Thank you, Nate. And I think that's totally right. That kind of naked power is what, Mitch, the only thing Mitch knows, right? That's the only rule. It's the only ethics that he understands. And the Democrats always have this kind of internal check. Yeah, we could do this, but we can't because, that would be outside the norms and that just wouldn't be right. And that wouldn't be fair play. And also we always need to make sure the government actually does the functions that it's supposed to do. Whereas Republicans just don't care, right? They do not care. They are willing to trash the whole thing to win the point. So, hey, we are, that's Mitch in the News. Thanks for those stories. And we're going to now move into Campaigns Corner, which is really exciting. We've got a couple of guests that are going to join us for Campaigns Corner, bringing in Aftyn Behn, who's our regional organizer for Indivisible, who's been a great partner with us as we've, kind of built up the Mitch McConnell Retirement Committee. Aftyn's been there the whole way, helping us out, helping us partner with Indivisible, giving us the ability to, bring in more resources and do more work. And joined by Emily Smith as well. Welcome. How are you guys doing today?
We're great. We are in Nashville, Tennessee, see at Belmont University, where Emily's a student, where the third presidential debate will be. And so we're super excited to join you tonight. We're super excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
That's great. So the third presidential debate, we're assuming that Trump actually shows up to the first one. I got a hunch, like with the taxes, with everything breaking right now, I think he's just not going to show. I think it's going to be like dead air. Anyway, so yeah, you were joining us because you were here not that long ago. We got to actually see Aftyn in person, socially distant, of course, and wearing a mask, but learned that she does exist beyond a Zoom call. And what were you doing? What'd you have with you?
Yeah, so National Indivisible has the Payback Project that I have discussed on this live stream before. But part of that is a fun little campaign called the Cardboard Caucus. Now, for those of you listening, you're probably wondering, turns out, just like McConnell, it is very hard for constituents in these Senate states to get a hold of their representatives. So we have Cardboard Cory Gardner, Cardboard Joni Ernst, Cardboard Susan Collins, and affectionately, Cardboard Mitch McConnell. So Mitch McConnell took a road trip across Kentucky. A lot of y'all have feelings that you want to share with folks. And so Mitch McConnell met with his constituents across the state of Kentucky. And it was great to see all of you, an incredibly creative scene that we had in Lexington with your group.
That was all due to Kelly Estes, who's a volunteer with us, who actually does theater. So she directs I think high school theater. So she has some really good ideas. So all credit to Kelly, certainly. But all right, so you did some video and then you threw it all to Emily to fix and make it decent or.
Yeah, and so Emily's actually the head person on the Belmont team for the presidential debate, and she wanted to get her feet wet in politics. And so I said, here's the footage. And so we've been working through a lot of the content to hopefully produce a cardboard trailer, as I guess they're called in the media world, and then a longer form documentary, because as I said, a lot of you had a lot of rage to throw at Mitch McConnell. So I want to make sure that's documented and able to be accessed nationally.
You need later on if you need it for, I don't know, some sort of court case or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wonderful evidence when we finally snap if Mitch gets reelected. Excellent. So do we have the video? Can we show the video? Do you want to lead in, Emily or Aftyn?
Yeah, Emily, do you want to talk a little bit about the project? And
yeah, I guess it is kind of a trailer to this longer form documentary, and I'm really excited to have combined kind of the sheer silence of this cardboard cutout, and I just cannot wait to have everybody's voices heard about everything that's going on. So this is kind of a little taste of that, plus some humor. So I'm really happy to have put this together and can't wait for you guys to see the rest of it.
Awesome. All right, let's roll it.
No person has done more in living memory to undermine the functioning of the U.S. government than the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell has.
For 35 years, you have never, ever represented me.
You are not a Kentuckian.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. That's great. So, hey, Aftyn, if folks want to get plugged into the campaigns right now, the Payback Project, is there anything specifically we should tell them to do to get engaged, to help flip those 11 states you guys are targeting?
Yep, we added Alaska to paybackproject.org, but I think the work that y'all are doing is probably the most important. probably the most important. So I would just continue to do work with the Mitch McConnell Retirement Committee and www.paybackproject.org.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for the work you're doing, and good luck, with the debate. All right, so we're moving on now. We got our call to action. We are bringing back Kit to share where are we with our 5K for KY campaign. What is it? How are we doing? What's our next step? Kit, tell us all about it.
All right. So as I've reported the last couple of times I've been on the show, we had an incredibly successful voter registration drive, 7 states, over 60 volunteers, over 5,500 letters sent out. It was fantastic. And for me personally, the coolest thing is people want more. People want to do more. They're like, send me more, send me more. So we're not stopping here. In order to win, we need to have these people registered. But we also have got to get new voters, sometimes voters, independent voters. We have got to get even some never Trump or sick of Mitch Republicans out there to vote. So we're going to implement a couple of programs to work on this, to inform, to motivate, and to just turn out that vote and like get people out there. And so I talk about this a lot. I like the power of the personality, right? I'm a teacher, so they say each one teach one. Well, in this case, we want each one reach 50. So we got a couple of different programs that we're asking you to sign up to do. One is, goes to that power of relationship. It's using this program called Empower, which sort of depends on you reaching out and enlisting. There, I'm getting my Mainer out because I'm getting so excited. My dialect's getting confused. Get at least 10 of your friends out to vote, right? Friends and family, sort of mentor them along and just get them out to vote so that you're sort of adopting them. The other thing we're going to do is use this program called Through Text. So you can identify, educate, persuade voters all over the Commonwealth to get out to vote. You don't have to do both. If you have time to do both, well, more power to you. Welcome, and we will put you to work. But we do have both as an option. So if you're looking to do something else, we have a sign-up sheet, and maybe Ken has shown it, but it's up there. Okay, so you can see it. It's a bit.ly MMRC -GOTV, get out the vote, which always makes me want to be like, charge, let's do this thing. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to be sort of staid because I don't feel so hot, but let's do this, people. We can ditch Mitch. All right, I'm going off a minute. I am so tired of being told that we in Kentucky cannot ditch Mitch. We can totally ditch Mitch. There are so many more of us than them. So let's get those folks out. So sign up, help us. You'll get a little email from me. I will be a little more staid and calm, but sign up and help us ditch this dude, right? We deserve better. This is like a bad marriage. Time to end it. No reflection on my spouse who's next to me. I love him.
Yay!
So come on, sign up. That's all I got. Love, Kit.
Awesome. Yeah, 36 days to go. We have got the campaign plan to put your time and energy to work so we can, turn out those 5,000 votes that we think it's going to take, to make the difference. We're just one small campaign, but you can make us huge if you join in and, pull together your contacts and then text to. Really, you can with texting, you can get through thousands of voters. So we've got a big list of folks we want to talk to. Excellent. Thanks so much. I'm so glad to have Kit's work and leadership as our organizing chair. Next, we're bringing in Doug, who is following Mitch's money, looking specifically at how Mitch delivers the votes time and time again, the role of money in all this. I was reminded as I was, looking at what Doug was going to cover. I lived in Louisiana for quite a while, and I had a senator, John Breaux. He was one of those blue dog Democrats, super conservative. He was wrong on all the issues I cared about. This is the old guard, what the Democratic Party used to be like in the South, really. And he very famously said, you can't buy my vote, but you can rent it. Mitch McConnell, I think, follows along those similar lines. So without further ado, here is Doug following Mitch's money.
I would certainly be in favor of allowing states to use the bankruptcy route.
Welcome to another segment of Following Mitch's Money. The points I hope to cover tonight include money and power, Mitch and ever-changing policies, donations to at-risk Republican senators, and dark money donations. Our Senator Mitch McConnell never ceases to disappoint us. His decision to rush the appointment to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg is the exact opposite of his holding up Obama's nomination of Merrick Garland. What made sense to him in 2016 is completely different with one exception. Both outcomes are to his advantage. This is typical Mitch, rearranging the facts to suit his desired outcome. One would think there would be several Republican senators who would vote based upon what is fair and right as opposed to towing the party line. Are their jobs more important than their principles? Why is Mitch able to keep almost every Republican senator in the fold? There are two obvious reasons. One is money. In earlier segments, we have established that Mitch believes the key to winning is money and lots of it. The other is power. As a Senate Majority Leader, he has the capability to control legislation, and therefore other senators must follow his lead. The perfect example of this is the upcoming Supreme Court Justice selection process. Those senators who do not fall in line can expect to not be in favor with the leader. Most are already falling all over themselves to let him know that they will support Trump's Supreme Court nominee, many asserting they will vote to approve the nomination without even knowing who the nominee is. In order to convince others to support his agenda, Mitch directed contributions to Republican senators in swing states. Open Secrets reported donations from the National Republican Senatorial Committee to Republican senators during the 2020 election cycle. My expectation is that Mitch greatly influences the direction of funds from this committee. Incumbents Tom Tillis, Martha McSally, Cory Gardner, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, and Stephen Daines each received at least $44,600 from that committee. The Senate Leadership Fund spent over $53 million on ads against the Democrats running against those Republicans. Most of these are behind in the polls and may very well be the start of an exodus of Republican senators, perhaps enough to flip the Senate to Democrats. Mitch also has ties to the Bluegrass Committee, and this committee contributed $70,000 in total to 5 of the above candidates. Additionally, a dark money group, One Nation, spent over $7.3 million on TV ads boosting Senate Republicans during the 2020 election cycle. This organization is linked to McConnell's Senate Leadership Fund, and the group is focused on backing incumbent senators facing strong Democratic challengers. Mitch is an obstructionist and a political opportunist who cares only about money and power instead of the people. We the people have to ditch Mitch on November 3rd, 2020.
This partisan impeachment will end today.
So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful.
Always digging in, bringing us the number, the dollar signs that lead to the politics that we despise, right? It is like corruption central with following Mitch's money. So as a sharp contrast to the politics of Mitch, we are now bringing in our interview for tonight, Col Pam Stevenson, who is the state rep-elect for, and I don't remember the number, and I'm sorry, but what was 23? Okay, so Representative Charles Booker, you might know from his, his run for Senate, got a lot of attention statewide. He left this district to run, and Colonel Pam Stevenson is there and ready to serve. And thank you so much for joining us today on Moscow Mitch Monday.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited. I'm just excited. It's like we get to do something that really makes a difference. Talk about, oh, go ahead and ask me the question.
All right. So, good. She's like, I know what you're gonna do. Yes, we ask every guest, what does your sign say today? Although we don't ask Campaigns Corner that all the time, I guess. But anyway, the featured guest, what does your sign say today?
My sign that I'm holding up is big and bold, and it says, "A world that works for all people now."
That's awesome. That's a good one. All right. So you've joined us. You are in Louisville, I'm assuming.
I live in Louisville, born and raised.
Born and raised. Awesome. And you are, I take it from your title, you have been in the military.
I served 27 years in the United States Air Force, retired as a colonel, and came back home to serve Kentucky.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for serving. And we're excited that you've been elected. You don't even have to go through the general election, right?
Right. I will say this. When I served 27 years in the Air Force, the question they always ask, we always talk about it, is every other military member says, "Where are you from?" And I would say Kentucky, because that's where I'm from. And they would say one or two things. You don't look like a hillbilly, or they have Black people in Kentucky. And the thing I discovered was being in their country or their state, they didn't have anything going on that Kentucky didn't have going on. So I promised when I finished serving America, I would come back home and serve Kentucky.
Well, Colonel Pam, you know I love you. We act just alike. Oh my God, I love you. And I am so happy that there are people like you that are representing Kentuckians, because this is such a crucial time right now with the pandemic, with the movement, with our country moving, well, it's already, to me, autocracy. So what I really want to know, because I know you personally, so it's kind of hard for me to pick out that one question, but I would like the viewers to know that you also are an attorney. And you have been responsible in trying to help some of the protesters that have been peacefully protesting, that brutally the police had just, garnered them up in a paddy wagon and sent them to jail. And we appreciate that. But my question for you today is this right here. With you being an attorney, and knowing about AG Daniel Cameron, how do you feel? Is there any way when everything comes out, there's been rumors of maybe, and I know this may sound far-fetched, but I usually ask questions way before it becomes a reality. Is there a possibility of disbarment? If it comes out that he did not do the investigation with the grand jury, didn't present to them pertinent information, or he lied to the public, or lack thereof?
That's very difficult, because the grand jury is the prosecutor's tool. They could indict a dead egg or a boiled egg by presenting no evidence. So it would have to be something clear and concise for anybody to move that he be disbarred. Point in case, look at the Attorney General of the United States of America. Those are clear cut cases where he's crossed the line continually, and yet he still serves. In this murky area where it's not clear what he's done and not done, because it's a secret grand jury, it would be very, very difficult.
And do you believe, this is the last part of my two-part question, does it seem logical to you that this was a plan, a strategy perhaps, the timing of it, and also knowing that AG Daniel Cameron is most definitely a mentee of Mitch McConnell?
Here's the thing. I think Nate might have said it. It's very clear he's a mentee of Mitch McConnell. That is not the issue. Because we know it. Everybody scratches somebody's back to do something. And he scratched Mitch's back, and he got what he wanted from that scratching. Now, the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? And what we've done about it so far has been inconsistent. Someone in the background needs to be building a case. Like Breonna Taylor was killed on 13 March. And most of the facts that didn't come to our attention or to our awareness that there was an issue until a month or so later. And now at this late date, the facts are still not known because they're holding it close to their chest. Here's the problem. It's destabilizing our country and our systems as we know it. We have people, older people in particular, that don't know what to do, what to believe. And it's like the world is falling apart because our systems are being attacked from the inside. So what has to happen is that Nate, I appreciate what you said earlier, that we should take a lesson from the Republicans and go in and be selfish. But I believe we need to be the change we want to see in the world. I believe we need to take over this government and rebuild it in a way so the world works for all people. That's what's required. And we can't allow a scoundrel to make us be scoundrels. Let's just use our power to get him out. That's power. And then he will take Daniel with him.
Oh, don't. That's it. No more questions. It's all over. So, Colonel Stevenson, do we call you representative-elect? What's
call
the right?
me, especially if you're having cake. See, I love cake.
Okay.
I am here to be of service. You call me what you feel comfortable with. Call me pretty, call me smart. Just call
all of the above, for sure. So you've just completed your second, I think it's your second big campaign for the Kentucky House of Representatives for the 43rd District. Yay! Yeah. And I'm wondering, what kind of shadow does Mitch McConnell cast over that process and the experience of running for office in your district? Do you think that if you were running and holding office, that it would be any different without him? So when he's also running and holding office too. Do you know what I mean? Is that a weird question?
I know exactly what you mean, Nate. We are right here. Here's the thing. The damage that's been done to America, the damage that many people that I served with died for, the promise of America that many people died for, are things that you don't see as easily. So when I walk around Shawnee Park, when I walk around my neighborhood and people are sad and people are not sure that their voice matters anymore, when people are not sure that their life matters anymore, when people are just fed up and tired of being fed up and tired and give up. That's the power of America that's been robbed by this person saying constantly and consistently for at least 26 years that you don't matter. My job is to make sure that Obama is the one-term president. My job is to make sure that Obama doesn't get to nominate someone to the Supreme Court. My job is to make sure that you don't matter, and that I'm going to make sure that anything this world has to give goes to my friends. So it's immeasurable, the damage done to a people who's used to being in America, land of the free, and it has a promise that to be delivered into each other.
Are you down there yet? Lamont wants to know.
I'm about to get off the bus.
Okay.
If you give people, like people across this world, are pretty much the same, and we put stuff in between us. When I was in the Middle East, this is really, they don't appreciate women nor people of color, but I couldn't go back and say I can't do my job because they don't like me because I'm short. I had to find a way to liaison with people who didn't have my interests at heart. And I did it very well. At the end, they loved me and made sure that I could get my job done for America. And this one commander came up to me at the end and he says, my mother has never met an American. Will you go meet her? And we drove for minutes and minutes, sand everywhere. And I'm thinking, am I going to get back to base? And when I got to his mom's house, it was a little hut in the middle of the desert. And she had one room and she had 2 teacups. And for an hour, we drank tea because she spoke no English and I didn't speak Arabic. And at the end, she said she had a gift for me. She had practiced thank you in English. So people want their lives to matter. And we do things to make sure we kill their spirit. And that's what he should be indicted for.
That's wonderful.
Or at least fired.
So one question for me, I think we're going to need to go, but it's been 94 days, Colonel Stevenson, since the news broke about the Russian bounty on soldiers. And in that time, Mitch McConnell has not acted to criticize the White House for not acting on that intelligence. And he has barely said anything about the actual bounty program itself. As a veteran, as someone who served our country, how does that make you feel?
I cry when I hear that. It hurts my heart when the government sends me to God forbidden places on behalf of America. I go proudly because I trust my leadership. I trust that they're going to take care of me. I trust that they're going to take care of my family. And I never in a million years would think that they will allow a foreign country to shoot and hunt us. And that he said nothing shows me that he doesn't understand duty, honor, country. And he certainly doesn't understand the over 300,000 military men and women in the state of Kentucky. So when you tell me that you want to keep this job for 6 more years, what you're really telling me is that you want to keep the job so you can get your retirement plan in. Because you don't care about me. And you don't care about people who have this land, America, be free because of the brain. I take very seriously every person who was in my charge. I talked to their mamas because I wanted them to know that their child was in the hands of a country that cared about them, and so they could rest easy. And he's destroyed that.
Yeah. Wow. Colonel Stevenson, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for sharing your perspectives with us, and good luck in Frankfurt when you go there to serve. You seem like a really nice person, so I don't exactly know, it's unfortunate almost that you need to go there. I've paid attention to that legislature, and it is it doesn't bring out the best in people always, but I'm sure you will help elevate that body. And thank you for your service, in the past and the service to come for our state specifically. So
thank you. I can talk to anybody. I learned that in the military. And the only thing I won't have a discussion about is when your desire is to end my life and my ability to live. Other than that, we can talk about anything. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
And thank you for being a great group of people that are standing for a Kentucky that's at the top of the list and not at the bottom.
Excellent. All right. So I think Kimberly's got something to walk us through.
Yes, everybody. Remember, we've got just 36 days to win this thing. Can you believe it? 36 days. And we've got this time to retire Mitch, to save our democracy. Make sure you take an action every day. Here's what this week could look like. Always on Monday, and today's Monday, you're watching or listening to the Moscow Mitch Monday. Follow us on Facebook and invite 20 fed up friends. You know the friends on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and your friends that you're talking to on the phone. It's time to get real now. This is real. We just hit 2,000 likes last week. But I challenged us all to get us to 3,300 likes. Can you please help? Invite all of your friends right now. Could you do that, please? And thank you. Tuesday, watch the Kentucky Poor People's Campaign Senate Town Hall. Mitch and Amy have been invited. However, there is no word on who will show. I'll text Amy and find out if she's going to show up. And if she tells me yes, you'll be the first to know. Also, they'll be tackling important issues our senators should be leading us on, like helping address the issues of poverty in our two poor states. It's embarrassing, you guys. We are like the end of the line when it comes to economics, okay? We are one of the poorest states. Troll Mitch's timeline, if you could. Call him out for putting his campaign to take away health care from millions by rushing through a dangerous Supreme Court nomination ahead of helping the people of Kentucky. I mean, our health care is on the line. Democracy is on the line. If you have a pre-existing condition, it's on the line. And on Wednesdays, this is what we got coming up. Now, this is the fun part, okay? Make phone calls. Sign up with amymcgrath.com. Smile. People can hear your smile and dial and get to some new voters. On Thursdays, it's live music. Hood to the Holler has lined up Which Side Are You On? A virtual music festival to get folks voting. I think Jason Isbell is going to perform. I hope I said his name correctly, but I know who I'm talking about. You can sign up right here. It should be on the screen for you. On Friday, join the 5K for Kentucky. Start making your list of 10, 20, or 30 maybe voters that you know. Folks you can inform and persuade to make their voices heard. We'll plug folks into the Empower platform and help share updates and engagement strategies. And on Saturday, Save SCOTUS Saturday. Join us in a protest near Mitch's Lexington office from 3 to 4:30 p.m. at Harrodsburg Road and Corporate Drive off of New Circle. If you're in the Lexington area, you probably know where that is. It's going to be lots of fun every week. Come pick up an Amy yard sign, hold up a Ditch Mitch banner for a while, and meet other committee members. And Sunday, yes, this is a 7-day-a-week situation, you guys. It's too important not to. On Sundays, make some phone calls. Sign up with Indivisible's National Phone Bank Day of Action. And you know what? Indivisible is one of the great organizations. I sit on the board of Indivisible Kentucky, so I'll be making those phone calls along with you. So that's a powerful week. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. So what are you doing this week? How are you spending the 6 other days of action right now? Throw it all in the comments or put it on Twitter. Thank you so much.
Well, I know what I'm doing this week now, thanks to you. And thanks especially now to Ken and CouchFireMedia.com for making our live stream so much better. And hey, don't forget, Ken's activist art show called American Exceptionalism, Degenerate Counterculture, and the 100 Seconds Until Midnight. It opened on Friday, September 18th at the Lexington Art League at the Loudon House. His artist website is www.alllowercaseletters.com. Yes, that's the phrase, alllowercaseletters.com. Pro tip, you can spell it with all uppercase letters too. It'll still work. Just don't forget it. And he's on Facebook at @obliquity of the ecliptic. And I'm going to spell that OBLIQUITY of the ecliptic, ECLIPTIC. This is, of course, going to be, it is currently a mixed media show, both digital and physical art that features activism, dissent of local, regional, and national political agendas and concepts. And all the media was created to sublimate anxiety, fear, lies, hate, and anger since and before Trump. Man, I could use a double dose of that. I'll tell you what. Mitch McConnell makes several pointed cameos as well. So let's keep that going, folks, by putting a bit of cash in the hat. Can we meet our weekly fundraising goal? Please go to secure.actblue.com/donate/MMRC2020. That's secure.actblue.com/donate/MMRC2020. And help Ken and us keep the production values as amazing as possible. Who knows? Maybe before too long we'll have CGI avatars, doing this thing live for us, thanks to Ken. Or just me. And almost last, but not almost least, Mitch, please. It's the feel-good hit of the election. It's catchy. It's political. It's factual. You will love it unless you hate classic rock and really love Mitch. Go to tinyurl.com/Mitch-please-song. tinyurl.com/Mitch-please-song. And enjoy rocking out to our anti-Mitch anthem all the way from here to the ballot box or the ballot that's on your kitchen table that you're going to send in tomorrow. Also, our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/MMRC2020. And I think that's it for me. Anybody want to absentee ballot. I'm being reminded. Don't forget to send in your absentee. Matt, I tell you what, Aaron, you know what you're saying. You take it from here.
We'd almost wrapped up in an hour. We went a little long. We were so close, but I did want to say, make sure to request that absentee ballot if you haven't already. I've got mine. I've not opened it yet. I've not filled it out yet, but I'm very excited about this option of voting. And so go to govoteky.com. govoteky.com to find out how you need to vote, to find out, to request your ballot if you'd like, to check on the status of your ballot, which is kind of cool if you mail it in and you don't really trust the mail because you know that Mitch has been monkeying with the mail. You can actually check your status to make sure they got it, which is pretty cool. There's also boxes. You'll find out where the boxes are for your county if you want to just drop it off. It's a new election style for us, right? So if you're just used to, oh yeah, I vote every 4 years. I show up at the school up the street or at the firehouse up the street and I vote. That's not going to cut it this time. It's a different situation. So get yourself educated. Go vote Kentucky. Go vote KY.com to get the information about how to do it. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for watching us. Thank you so much, Nate and Kimberly. And of course, Col Pam. What a fantastic guest. Thank you, Aftyn and Emily. And thanks, Ken. Thanks, Ken, the guy you don't see, but he's the reason that you see us. So y'all have a great night.
And Doug
also, and Kit. There's a few people I forgot. I'm sorry, because I'm a horrible host. I adore them both, even if I forgot their names for a second. I don't know the name of the cat. What's the name of the cat, Nate?
Zola, the Wonder Cat.
Zola, the Wonder Cat. I have a daughter named Zola.
For real?
Yeah, no, we call her Zoe, but
Oh.
Zola. All right, that's it. I think we're done. Please, this is over. Please tell me that you've rolled the music at this point. Please put me out of my misery. Birth control. That's the word I was trying to think of. Birth control earlier. That's what I could not come up with the term. Oh my word! What a show.
You did it though. You kept it rolling.
Col Pam, that was such an honor to have you. I love your energy. I love your